More on this Alabama Senate race. Ford O'Connell, Civic Forum PAC chairman and Washington Examiner contributor. Gina Loudon, Donald J. Trump for President Advisory Board member, and Amy Holmes, Rasmussen Reports political analyst. Let me start with you, Gina. Obviously, the controversy is there. It's interesting on the mainstream media, they're taking it as a win-win. If the Democrat wins, they win. If Roy Moore wins, they win. And of course, there's a lot of never-Trumpers out there, as getting a lot of airtime across the TV spectrum in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I got my broadcasting start in Alabama. I call it my sweet home. I was there on the ground last week with Steve Bannon, traveling Alabama, speaking at rallies for Judge Moore. And I can tell you, the momentum is palpable. Charles, people in Alabama are excited for so many reasons. They're excited to stand for Judge Roy Moore against allegations that are unsubstantiated in any way, shape, or form. They're excited to stand for due process, Charles, and they're excited to stand up for their sovereign right as a state against the lamestream media who would try someone in the court of public opinion. So they're excited, and I think tomorrow's going to go well for him.
All right, guys. And by the way, let me just let the audience know, in this Fox News poll, they have likely voters, 42% Democrat, 44% GOP. Registered voters, 38% Democrat, 46% GOP. In the presidential election, President Trump, GOP was 62%. So that number seems to be really, really low. According to Pew, 52% of the voters in Alabama are Republicans. So our numbers certainly skew a lot more to Democrats in this poll. Perhaps, Amy, that's why Moore has a 10-point lead.
Well, certainly, and it's all about turnout. And you have models that show his opponent up by 10 points, models that show Roy Moore up by 10 points. It all depends on who goes to the polls tomorrow.
But it also depends on how you constitute your polls, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and that's what turnout is all about. But I would go back to the point that we heard Congressman Gohmert make, is that Alabamans, and I've talked to the Alabama natives about the Roy Moore situation, there are two things they don't like. They don't like outsiders meddling in their election, and they don't like liberal hypocrites. People like Harvey Weinstein, who defended President Clinton when he was committing sexual harassment and sexual assault, allegations of that, while president of the United States. The Democrat Party rallied around him and said we needed to protect the president because we want to protect our agenda. Right. Alabamans don't want to hear these same people wagging their finger at them over Roy Moore.
On that note, Ford, Highway 31 is revealed it's a new super PAC. They just pumped in over $4 million for Jones. We know Jimmy Kimmel just wrote a check. A lot of other celebrities have written checks. Could that backfire? I know Alabama too, and I have a lot of relatives down there as well. And it's not a state that takes kindly necessarily to outsiders trying to make them do things.
Look, there's no question the Democrats have gone all in. They can smell blood in the water. They think if they win this race, they have a shot to retake the Senate in 2018. Let me say this. The polling is all over the map, and having run campaigns in Alabama, I would say I give Roy Moore a slight edge just because the demographics lean so heavily Republican. Trump won the state by 28. The last Democratic United States senator elected from the Yellowhammer State was 1992. Look, I do agree with Amy. It's all about turnout. The Democrats are trying to pull out every single chicanery trick they can do to really gin up folks. And really, their whole key is, can they get out African Americans and younger voters? Right. And if they can't, we have a traditional election. Guess what? Roy Moore wins.
Yeah, Cory Booker over the weekend, Charles Barkley making the rounds in Auburn,
President
superstar.
Obama.
President Obama obviously trying to get the black vote out there, and perhaps some of the whites with college degrees as well. Guys, thank you all very much. I've got new details right now on this.